All right, we are all right. We are here. We are here. Welcome, all y'all. Welcome to motherfucking Pnoid Live. What up? What up? What up? God damn it. Yo, look, I'm here with Max Dean Esme, motherfucking Mad Max from fucking Michigan. All right, the man who got murdered by the motherfucking yellow bunny and shit. And we were gonna have a conversation about the fucking Fed, but we got in some awesome shit before we fucking started this stream. So like, we're gonna run with that a minute, you know what I mean, and see where the hell that takes us. And we got a couple other things to discuss as well. Max, man, how you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, people will know me. I used to be the managing editor of Voice for Men, and I helped create the Honey Badger Brigade. But all those bitches stabbed me in the back and others in the back and lied about me. So now I hang out at Red Pill Religion and at Gator and Frog, where I do a Tuesday night podcast called Nightburn. And I hope you all come check it out because we talk about strange issues you don't normally hear about. Not, I mean, we might get into spiritual stuff, or we might like to get into stuff like conspiracies about pop stars, or we just talk about stuff that's interesting. You might call it a conspiracy podcast. We have a lot of fun with it every Tuesday night. And otherwise, yeah, we were talking here, and he and I got into arguments as men do. I mean, friendly argument. I'm not even sure what exactly we disagreed on. But then before we even got started, the subject changed, and we got into something I think is more interesting, which is I've been thinking a lot on it lately. In case anybody knows, I'm gonna be 54 this year, so I'm a Gen Xer, not a boomer, Gen Xer, early Gen Xer, but an older Gen Xer, and I've seen so much change in my lifetime. And I used to be in history, and used to hang out with older people, and I know how much has changed even just in the last century based on people I've known. And one of the things that's very obvious about the modern world, especially the modern workplace, is not well suited for most men or women, but I'm going to concentrate on the ways the workplace makes men crazy. Women can relate or not. I really do think it makes them crazy in different ways. But first off, men are generally not designed to be cooped up in a box all day. And so cubicle life is like, I believe, genuinely soul damaging, genuinely psychologically damaging, and genuinely damaging to your mental and physical health, and will shorten your life. And there is nothing natural about that way of living and working. And then maybe you're a smart guy in some ways, like Pnoid here, and then I'll let you jump in, Pnoid, who said, fuck that, I'm not getting in a cubicle job. Good, probably, because most of them are dead enders anyway. And he gets a job driving a truck, which, by the way, if you've got the stomach for that, if you've got the fortitude for it, can be a very lucrative gig. At least for a working class person, right? You can easy pull in 150 a year. Pretty easy. Easy is the wrong word. Easy is the wrong word. And depending on what you're doing or where you're at, 100 to 200 a year, depending on what you're doing or where you're willing to go. I don't know. Am I wrong there?
Yeah, you're really wrong there. Like if you own your own rig, you might be able to.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the guys I know own their own rigs. Sorry, but that's usually a guy who's been in it for a while or got a family thing going.
Yeah, you can pull in probably like. You know what I mean? Probably, I would say like really more the closer, not 50 to 85 is about average, right?
Right.
As far as stuff's concerned.
Right. And then if you're aggressive, you can try and get into something like hazmat or some of the other things that pay better.
Yeah. I mean, you can do all types of stuff. It just depends on what you're willing to do as far as physical work is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to drive like cars and things like that, like you can drive like the car trailers, and like each thing pays, flatbed pays better, hauling oversized loads. But all of this requires more stress and more problems and more bullshit and more responsibility on your part as the money goes up is kind of the situation. Like, me, like I got in with a good company that, you just end up, you make a decent amount of money a mile, and they give you your work, you go do your thing, and like you don't have to deal with bullshit. Like I went into the office probably like a week and a half ago to hand in my paperwork. And they looked at me and they said, there was a new lady in the office, and they looked at her. They said, well, this is Tom. I mean, you probably won't be seeing much of him. Like, yo, I don't really hang around. I mean, legit. I don't really, I mean, I don't really stick around these type of places. I don't like going in and dealing with bosses and managers and shit. I don't like having authority around me all the time. I've always worked nights my whole life. Like before I was a trucker though, like I did a lot of different things. I did restaurant work, and I mean, probably for the first 3-4 years of my, like adult life. Even before that, I was doing restaurant work. I did like, like Hardee's and Wendy's and McDonald's and all that types of shit. I love those fucking jobs. They're fucking amazing. But you can't make any money doing them. And I did like fucking steel work after that. Like I worked in factories, like making truck springs and making large diameter line pipe. I did retail for about like 2 weeks. I fucking hated that shit. That was awful. I did door-to-door sales outdoors. And I mean, I even did like regular outdoor sales. Like I was a guy, and I mean, fucking with a suitcase on the corner selling shit, right, for a company. Like, I did a bunch of shit. I did logistics work where I actually had like an office job, and I had actually had an office and an executive bathroom and an assistant and shit at one point in my life. But like all that shit ended up packing up and leaving. And so like I ended up like, I was like, fuck it, dude. Like I'll just go make some money trucking. You telling me I can go to school for 3 weeks and make 80 grand a year and I ain't got to worry about the bullshit. Like, yo, fuck yes, I'm gonna go fucking do that. Like, hell yeah. And I've been doing that shit ever since. I've been doing it about 5-6 years now, probably 7. It's not bad at all. I mean, legit. Like there's problems that come with it. And again, like this is what we were discussing. We were talking about like how, you go out on the road. Like I had like over the road jobs where like I was driving like down to Georgia and Florida, Louisiana, and like coming back up to like Connecticut or whatever the case might be, or Ohio or Toledo or up to Canada. And like, man, listen, like you'll end up stopping and getting a shower just so you have a place to eat where you're not sitting inside of your truck.
Yeah, and so you've taken it away, and this isn't going to be all about trucking, but I mean, I was going to take you've taken it in a way so that you take the jobs, you work the shifts that pay higher, you put time in, you get in, you find the right company, and eventually you can be making what most people consider really good cash. You get up over 6 figures, even, and you can towards getting your own rig. You're going to be but there's going to be a few years work to doing it. And there's other jobs that are like that too. Like, I've had an office job. I've actually been a project manager and a corporate trainer, but I go insane in the corporate world, and I literally go insane like a rat in a cage, that just trapped like a rat in a cage in a cubicle job, which is, I mean, I've worked in multiple Fortune 500 companies. It turns out I even have some severe neurological issues that make it almost impossible for me to feel normal in a regular office environment, especially under fluorescence.
Well, I can't work with the women is my issue.
Oh yeah, and my hardline discovery. One of the things that, again, I'm an older guy, and I used to be kind of open-minded and say I would even say I was a feminist, not like hardcore like the male feminists these days. Like, yeah, I'm a feminist, women's equality, yay, and quickly discover that no, women in the office are horrible for the most part. I mean, they can be okay, but they're awful. And is a female-dominated workplace, you can get along in it as a man, but you better be careful, because unless you're the man in charge, or there is a man in charge, if it's run by women, there will be a queen bee. And believe me, queen bees, and they're that's another thing. I know it's very hard for men in a female-dominated workplace. And let's say you get a job like I did. Like I was.
Let me say hi to the chat real quick. Yo, Psycho Freedom, motherfucking my boy Analytic Alchemist. What up? And Poppin' Hops out here in the motherfucking chat, man. How y'all doing? Welcome. You know the situation. I mean, I know that this is like my 3rd video for today, and YouTube fucking only hands out views to one person for one video per fucking day. I love YouTube and their analytics. It's so fucking terrible. Like they're such a garbage ass fucking platform, legitimately. But it's cool. This is going to be up on this will be up on Anchor and Spotify and Apple Play Music and Google Play Music.
I didn't know that. That's great. And I'll say it again. Find us on Gator and Frog, and look for us on Nightburn, just so I can siphon some of your users. Come find us. But anyway, hi,
yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I like, so like where I'm at is like, like when I was a kid, like getting used to being by yourself was just something that you did. Right. Psycho Fire. What up, man? Welcome. Like when you was a pup, like you ended up standing here having, like I got suspended a lot when I was in school. So like they put you in a fucking cubicle all the time. Like that's what they do. They fucking put you basically in isolation and fucking, solitary confinement. And I spent like 105 days a year in that type of shit. So learn how to go
wait
it alone.
a minute. You were in a solitary room for school? What?
Yeah.
They would literally your school. Oh, I've heard about things like this. I've never actually met anybody who went through it. So you were basically put in solitary confinement for much of your childhood.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's just sick and fuck. Just sick fuck wrong, by the way. Just so you know, and it does point to one of a million things that's wrong with contemporary society that needs changing. Because that's actually
that's just like you remember the Kids for Cash program?
Yeah, there's still
I was part of that too.
How did you get out, brother? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm an escapee. I'm an escapee of the pedos too. What the fuck happened with you? Oh no, it was actually pedos I escaped. I'm sorry. Were you Kids for Cash? You mean you were taken into the foster care system?
No. Where they fucking hit you with a trumped up charge, and the fucking judge got a kickback for sending you to a fucking placement, and you ended up going and like fucking serving time as a fucking juvenile.
Sure. Okay, yeah. All right. So, oh god, I'm so sorry. Yes, the juvenile prison industry. Yes. Yep. See, there's the foster home industry, which is pure child abuse most of the time. Then there's the juvenile prison system. By the way, the ultimate child rape haven is your juvie prison system. That's, you talk about the Catholic Church. Oh my God, it's literally more than like 1,000 times worse than all the Catholic churches combined in those fucking juvie prisons and those fucking foster homes. But in any case, this is some of the stuff I did when I was in men's rights. So you go see that movie, The Red Pill. I was in it. Some real assholes in it, but it's a good film in terms of content. I got into whole men's issues because I cared about male survivors of various kinds of abuse, including sexual. And man, people don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to talk about where the problem is either. So anyway, I'm sorry you got. I don't know. I didn't say you got sexually abused. You don't have to answer.
No.
Well, good.
No. That like fuck that.
You got away from that.
You ain't taking me, right? But like legit, like I've seen some horrible shit. Like
I'm sure you
horrible shit. Like sorry, I watched this one dude. There was this Puerto Rican kid from down in Reading, and I was locked up with him. And like this fucking CO like fucking grabbed a hold of this kid. This dude had to be like fucking 260, and the kid was probably like 145, 150 pounds. And like this CO fucking put his knee like behind the kid's knee and fucking went into the concrete with the fucking kid from like 3 foot up in the air and shattered his fucking kneecap and then stood on it. And like I'm just sitting there in my fucking room listening to this fucking kid scream.
That's like the most painful injury you can give somebody too. That's like beyond
that are breaking like a thigh, like probably twice as bad. But still, like like I've seen some things. You know what I'm saying? Like legit, I've seen some shit. Like I remember what was really terrible to me. The one that fucked me up the most when I was in there is before I even went to placement. Like I was in juvie and shit. Like they got like it's basically like the county for kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it's where you're going before you go upstate. Like there's a difference between jail and prison, right?
Yeah.
Like a jail is where you go to when you're waiting to go to prison. Right? Like a jail, you're only serving like up to 2 years. In prison, you're gonna end up, that's where you do like 5, 10, 15 years. So if you're going upstate, you're going to prison. And so like I was in the kids' county jail, and I remember we went to court one time. They had us all downstairs, like underneath of the fucking courtroom in this big ass holding cell. And there was like 12 or 13 of us or whatever. And there was this like 7-year-old kid, and he was so small they had to put handcuffs on his ankles because his legs were too small for shackles.
Our system is so evil, Pnoid. Thank God you've escaped. I'm surprised you're as functional as you are. I tease you sometimes, of course, but I mean, I'm not here to share wounds, but let me just say I had a pretty fucked up childhood too. We're not here to compare, but I've seen some shit, bro. Okay, and
I got you.
But my point of that is, at some point we all got to look at, like, holy shit, this society is so beyond fucked up in its treatment of young men, young women too, but that's for another night. And but especially young men, and this is like, guys who go through and see the shit like you are statistically through the roof likely to wind up in prison as adults.
Yeah.
It's through the roof. And they're more likely to be, and even if they don't, and then they're more likely to be violent. They're more likely to have unstable relationships. They're more likely to have drug problems, all because, you know, you grow up and you're exposed to this level of trauma. I mean, as an adult, even some our juvenile prison system is mostly a kids for cash thing. The foster care system and child protective services is mostly a kids for cash thing. By the way, so is almost all the violence against women shit that you see. Because those are also designed not to help women who are getting beat by their men, although there's like a small percent who are helped that way. That whole thing is an enterprise in forcing women to get divorced and getting their adult male children into foster care, and just keeping, like, boys over 12 don't go into those battered women's shelters. They have to go to foster care.
Yeah.
Okay, and no males are allowed in them, and it's actually many of them are feminist recruiting zones. And
this is why, like, black people think there's racism in the system. They think it's all white supremacy, right?
Yeah,
and like the problem is like that Section 8 shit, right? And like what happens is, like, when you're a fucking kid and you turn 18, you know what I mean, you have no, like, real opportunities to go to college or to fucking get a decent job because you live in, you know what I mean, like a fucking food desert, and you don't have fucking any industry in your fucking city, and there's no place for you to fucking work. But they throw you out in your fucking.
And by the way, college is often a waste of money now. So yeah.
But they throw you out in your fucking ass at 18 because, like, there's no males allowed in the Section 8 house, so you can't even stay at your mom's if you wanted to. And your dad, you know what I mean, like, you're 1 in 3 fucking black fathers has been to prison for child support, so he's in not any type of condition to fucking help you out. You know what I mean? And this is why, like, they're like, oh, it's racism. Like, it's really fucking not legitimately.
And by the way,
it's just gynocentric bullshit.
And let me tell you, a lot of you have been trained to hate you, who've been through that grind already, you know, and this is your father. A lot of you have been trained to hate your father and think of him as a loser and a bum, when in fact the entire system was set up to destroy him and to get him out of your life. I'm not even, any of you who are listening who are estranged from your father because we just described how you grew up. I mean, maybe he's a horrible asshole, maybe, but maybe you should go look for the guy. Because the whole system is set to grind him up. It's been set to grind him up since at least the late 1960s. I will say they hit the black man first, but they were just warming up and experimenting and seeing how things work on the black man.
No. Like, they were just the most vulnerable when it really came down to it.
Well, and they really were literally experimented on, like, to see how they could do certain things. They were the first one that was given the Section 8 housing in the first place, and they were the ones who were first. You know, what does this do to what they used to call the Negro family? And they knew by the late 70s what it did to the so-called.
No, I'm like, and see this, and this is the problem, right? This is where, like, me and you start butting heads on shit, right? And you start talking like this they shit, and, you know, I mean, them and all this bullshit, right?
Yeah. Well, since they and them have names, and we know, and I can give you documentation. Yeah, no, this was on purpose, and you're foolish to think you really are.
No. Okay. Like, here's the deal, right? Like, so, like, what you have to understand is that, like, all right, the powers that be, which would be Congress and the president, and, you know, I mean, these fucking agencies like welfare and whatever the case might be, right? They were not trying to stand here and destroy families. Like, you know, they were trying to help out. They wanted to promote feminism and bring women up, right? That was what they wanted to do. Yeah. And And what they did in doing so is they stood there and ended up destroying the family.
Okay, well, this probably won't be. Let's just agree to disagree on that one, and maybe we can have another conversation some other time. Because no, there's more than enough evidence in my mind now that no, they knew deliberately that this was the result they were going to get, and that they are aware now of the result they are getting, and they are fine with it. It's what they want. And
well, no, it was taken from the Swedish model, man. Like, yo, fucking, it happened in Sweden before it happened here.
Which was, and Sweden actually was a testing grounds for the weaponized anthropology by the European intelligence services, weaponized anthropology that was later used by the CIA and the FBI to target populations in the United States for various social agenda programs. And they knew by the end of the 60s what their programs were doing with the black family. And they were fine. They have not changed it in 50 years, and they are fully aware of what it does.
Well,
so
they couldn't.
We can have that conversation another time, though, because I want to get back to how do we survive in this environment? Because let's say you're right, and this is all just kind of accidental and corruption, and there is no they, and it's just all been foolishness and stupidity and corruption that's led us here. Okay, I don't believe a word of that. You totally believe that. Either way, we're here where we're here, and it's like, how do we deal with like you guys? When I hear you talk, like. Your story would have been unthinkably bizarre to me when I was your age, because the system wasn't like this.
Every kid I knew went through the same thing I did. Every last one of them.
Because while all this was going on, even when I was a kid, remember I got like 20 years on you, right? All this was going on when I was a kid, but the scale was not as big as it is now. The scale has done nothing but grow year over year over year. Just like, when I was a kid, I'm 54, so I'm born in 66, right? Divorce. I was the only kid who came from a divorced family when I was very young. Then I met a few others. Then I met a few others, and then a few others. And by the time I got out of high school, it was like half the kids. And so I watched that cultural change wash over. And it fucked us up. And if you spent time in foster homes, if you spent time in juvie, or even if you were in some of these fucked up, horrible government schools, like there's ways that did you damage, but you can work on fixing that damage. Just being conscious of how that shit damaged you and how our current environment is not natural either. We're not meant to be in cubicles. And even when you get a job like where you're out driving as a trucker, you're actually somewhat making yourself insane, because really, while there's always guys who are natural loners or whatever, really, whether you look at it through anthropology, through the Bible, through evolutionary psychology, because you're an atheist, it doesn't really fucking matter. You just look at it. We're designed to be like in packs. In small packs of hunter-gatherers or farmers or whatever, and just psychologically, spiritually, we're supposed to be surrounded by brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins. And even if we're the men, and so you think men, we're designed to go out and roam and hunt and be away and like that. Yeah, and no, because in reality, men need companionship, and it needs to be companionship they can trust and even love. And we're missing that, and we need to find ways to reconnect it, or at least recognize, okay, we're in this like almost weird prison environment where everything around us is artificial and weird, and we're told we're in the land of the free, but we have our number of choices is really remarkably limited. All right, just starting to be cognizant, okay, this is all artificial. How can I make this more livable for me? And how can I find ways to just be aware? Okay, yes, I've been out on the road for 3 days and I might be getting a little crazy. Maybe I need to find ways to get myself more grounded again. And what might some of those be? Whatever it is, I think the whole modern world has been designed to make us insane. And I frankly believe to make us kill ourselves. Maybe that's all by accident, but everything is act. I mean, you hear the male suicide rate is through the roof. Well, I can give you 50 reasons why it's so.
Oh yeah, like absolutely. And
the power,
they don't want to address any of them. Like I did a fucking
right.
video on this, right?
Yeah.
I did a video where I reacted to the BBC went to I think like Montana or like fucking Wisconsin or Wyoming, one of the fucking places, and they sat there and they said because it was like the highest suicide rate in I mean the United States, right? Like really in the world or whatever the case might be, and they sat there and they had conversations with all these dudes. And like they were like, why are these guys trying to commit suicide? And they didn't once bring up divorce or I mean, fucking like abandonment or fucking like like any of this shit. It was all just this shit, like because they can't. All right, they literally can't. And this is the problem, right? Yo, Mad Dots, what up, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's nice to see you out here, my brother. You know the deal. Got love for you over here. Fucking like you can't really stand here and have that conversation about why there's male suicide and not talk about divorce rape and not talk about, I mean, fucking like the destruction of the family and not talk about the lack of purpose. And you can't really do that shit. And especially when like, so you went through some shit and it affected you and it traumatized you, right? I went through some shit and it hardened me. Right, because hang on. But there's a difference between you and me, right? Like there's a big difference because my life had always been fucking awful, right? Like my life had always been about I mean, like fucking just straight survival from the beginning. That's all it ever was. Like I got shot at 8 years old.
No, bro. Again, it's not a competition.
No. What I'm saying.
I grew up with drugs. Oh man, I grew up with drugs and crime all around me. Okay, so
right.
But in any case, go ahead.
What I'm saying is like you have adaptability, right? Human beings are adaptable creatures, and like when you will normalize some shit that's absolutely abnormal.
Absolutely.
You will normalize terrible fucking things in your life.
Yep.
Right. And like being a trucker and being isolated and all this type of shit. Right. And I mean, like when it really comes down to it, you'll end up standing here fucking like you'll normalize like fucking just being alone on a constant basis and just come to terms with it and come to grasp with it. And it'll affect you at first. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll end up homesick and lonely and not having any of this shit and whatever. But like when you get down and dirty to the rest of the points, when you start really getting into it and you've been doing it for a couple of years, it becomes normalized and it becomes a routine. And like you end up just making shit into what it is. Right. Like, because life is fucked up. Evil Dead Ed, what up, man? And fucking DV, what up, man? You know what I mean? Right. And like you'll end up just making things normal eventually. Like that's just how it operates. And the problem with like all these male suicide things is that we've had it very good in this country for a very long fucking time. Right? For probably about 100 years. We've had it very good in this country. We haven't had we haven't had a war in this country since 1865.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I don't share your view on that either. But I really think things have been totally fucked up in this country for more than a century and slowly getting worse while we supposedly had glory days. So we have a very different perspective on that. I think really America has been on a downhill slide for most of its citizens since at least World War I. And, I don't believe the stats that sit there and try to claim, oh, look, we've cured all these diseases. We don't work as hard. Our kids live long. Dude, it's worse than you think. But whatever. And I guess now I'm interrupting, but I kind of want to get back to it. Whether you believe all this is by design or not, we are in a crumbling civilization, and we're in a civilization that has been abusing the shit out of its kids for 30, 40 years, basically since we normalized divorce. And then we had this whole thing where we created child protective services that are supposed to protect the children, but that really is just a kids for cash scheme. And millions and millions. I know some of you listening, you've either been caught in the system as the horrific public schools, the foster homes, or the juvie prison systems. There's millions and millions of you, and otherwise you still grow up without fathers. And do you know what it does to you when you don't have a good father? Like, and like you might even have your father, but like he was never around, and you don't really know him, But or he's working all the time or whatever. All that's unnatural. When a kid grows up without a father, do you know what it actually does for him? It's actually really predictable. You got a shitty father or an absent father. As a male, you tend to be very touchy. You tend to be narcissistic. It's like you can't help it because you're constantly concerned with what other people think about you. It's not even an intentional self-love. It's more like because you don't. Older males are supposed to train you how to be confident, and even are supposed to rag you and put you in your place, but also build you up because that's what brothers and fathers and good buddies do for you. And so, a naturally comfortable male is actually okay in the social environment, but when you don't have that, you tend to take offense very easily. You tend to get your feelings hurt very easily. You tend to retreat away from people, or like I'm sensing this as you, Pnoid. You tend to retreat away from people in the real life and like to be solo. But the other way you can go is a guy who's grown up like that will be like, I want to be the center of attention all the time. I want to be the social of the social everything, and and all of it. Actually, if you get a little self-humiliated about it, you don't, because I'm the guy who wants to be silent and not at the party and just hiding in the corner with my friends, maybe going to play D&D. On the other hand, on the internet, I like to get loud because that's also a common pattern too, by the way. Again, everything I'm saying is I'm talking about myself. All right. Because like I said, I did, I've seen some bad shit growing up. But I'm not here to live it except to recognize, okay, what did this do to me? Where did it derange my thinking? Where did it maybe make me stronger? But also, where might it still be fucking me up? Because there's definitely, you grow up and you've suffered some shit. You could either let it break you or you could realize, fuck, I'm still standing, motherfuckers. And that's the right attitude to have. Whatever you've been through, I'm still standing. In fact, I'm going to stand up right now. Somebody just kicked me in the nuts, took out some of my teeth, and broke my arm. But I'm standing the fuck back up and I'm going to spit at him. That's kind of... I really think that's the attitude you should have when life starts fucking you up this way. But then you also got to look and say, okay, how does this derange my thinking? And how can I find ways to find some sanity? Because you can't.
Yo, Memes, what up? Yo, Memes, what up, man? How the fuck you doing? Nice to see you out here, my brother.
Go ahead and riff on that. Like, how do you
blue collar Canuck.
And I want to hear from the chat too. What do you do to find your sanity? What do you do to find your serenity? What do you do to say, okay, I recognize I'm kind of fucked up, but the world's fucked up, and how do I find my serenity? I mean, it's a hard topic, but what do you think?
Well, I go fishing. I mean, spend time with the kids, cook. I mean, oftentimes when like I'm fully the fuck out of center, I'll take a bath. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking just really just soak and let my fucking brain and body and everything fucking like fix to where it's supposed to be. There's an evolutionary little glitch that we have. It's what's known as, I think, like the mammalian water response, to where if you put water over top of your face, like your fucking heart rate immediately slows down. Right. It's why, like, whenever you fucking like you break out into tears, whatever the case might be, fucking somebody dies or, fucking you got to let that shit out and clean out the lines. You go to the bathroom and you look in the mirror and you fucking, you fucking throw water on your face. And the reason why you do that isn't because you want to wash your face. It's actually an evolutionary tick that your body does on its own. And like when you have to, like, me personally, I get out in nature and fucking relax and start figuring shit out. Because like I was, like, as I said, like I was born out in the mountains, you know what I'm saying? And I spent a lot of time out there. And like the rest, like once I got older, I kind of returned to it. Like I went to the city when I was about 7, 8 years old. And then, I spent till I was like probably 22 in the city. And then like I left again and I went back out to the mountains, and I've been trying to bounce in between like the city and the mountains ever since, really, in my life. Like I actually, in my 30s, I bounced between the city and the motherfucking mountains and shit. Like it's been a weird few years, but well, not a few. God, it's almost been a goddamn decade. Fuck, man, I'll be 37 here soon. But yeah, like it's important that you do go find your center and you find a place, you know, I mean, to get back into where you're supposed to be and get back into your square when you're off of it. But it's also important that you listen to yourself and listen to your body and put what your body wants in it, you know. And I think that's also something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, is you have to pay attention to what your body wants, what your body craves, like, you know, whether it be sleep, whether it be food, whether it be drink, you know, whatever your body really wants is what your body fucking needs. And you need to respond to it as such. You know, you need to feed yourself the way you need to feed yourself. You need to take care of yourself and listen to your own health and your own way of doing things, because your body knows more than you do. Your brain knows more than you do. You know, it's doing 1,000 things right now that you have no idea that it's doing, and it's maintaining things that you have no idea that it's maintaining. And these are important things to really pay attention to in life, and once you start figuring that shit out, like, you'll end up in a much better spot, in a much better position in your life. I personally think, you know, I mean, it's helped me a whole lot just trying to maintain and get through all the fucking bullshit that we go through. And as far as like, you know, I mean, the world being an unnatural thing and like fucking, you know, it's standing here driving us insane. Like, there's a lot to be said for, like, Psycho in the chat. Michael Hatfield, welcome, my brother. Welcome. It's nice to see you out here. There's a lot to be said, you know what I mean, for, you know, like the wage slavery and things of this nature.
It is.
But there's ways around that.
There are.
Legitimately. There are ways around that. Like, there's ways to get, you know what I mean, to the point where you're not a wage slave.
I want to argue with something you said there a while back, though, because you kept insisting, oh, you're washing yourself and it's an evolutionary tick. I don't believe for a second that it's an evolutionary tick. I think there are spiritual and supernatural things, and washing yourself has spiritual and supernatural effects. It's why you see that in so many religious traditions. I just
well, it's not the washing yourself. It has nothing to do with washing yourself.
Yeah,
nothing.
that's what you think. But okay.
No. It's because, like, there are absolutely religious implications to, like, you know what I mean, actually, like, the psychological effects of removing fucking shit from your body. And cleansing yourself, like, for sure, like, yes. But no, what I'm saying is legitimately your body responds in a fucking actual manner every time water hits your face.
Sure. And actually, you were saying you like to take a bath. Believe it or not, I don't, but I'm not disparaging it, but just bath's not my thing for whatever reason, but a shower is. And sometimes when I'm feeling down, literally just getting in and getting under the water and letting the water go over my head, go over my face, sit there, turn it up as hot as I can get it, so I'm like turning into a lobster. It feels like I'm just cleansing myself and burning shit out, you know, get out all hot and steamy. I think it's becoming cognizant that you're not inferior, you're just confused in a confusing world, is helpful. That you're confused. You got bad advice from your teachers. You got bad advice from your other authority figures. You had bad dad or no dad. No help there. Maybe good brothers, probably not. We're in a fucked up world that is designed to be confusing and distracting in every way possible. But if you start to think, wait a minute, I can figure shit out. I know my own thinking is, because really, I'm talking about myself as much as anything. I know my own thinking is deranged in certain ways. So it's useful to study some psychology and learn about yourself. Like, really, if you just research what are called father issues and what psychologists have said about father issues going back 50 more or 100 years, you'll cringe, because you'll start reading what father issues look like. You're like, I don't do that. You'll start because really, none of us is unique as we think you are. If you've got father issues, you tend to be insecure. You tend to be bumping into things. You tend to be either constantly trying to prove yourself or running away so you never have to prove nothing. There's real predictable personality traits, and none of those are inferior. It's just good to recognize, all right, this is why I'm the way I am. This is how it might distort my thinking. This is how I might even get caught up in despair when despair doesn't make sense. This might be screwing up my relationships, and I should maybe do some reading and thinking about how to have positive relationships. But in the ultimate, don't let despair get to you, because what you just said, Pnoid, is right. You can escape wage slavery. But I mean, even if you're in what you might call wage slavery, here's how you escape real slavery. Do not, under any circumstances, accept debt, especially interest-bearing debt, or if you have any debt, pay it as quickly as you can and be debt-free. And learn to say these words: I can't afford it. I would like to do that, or I would like to buy that, but I can't afford it. And if you do that, not only will you have a better life in general, you might still be a quote unquote wage slave because you only get shitty jobs, but your ability to save money and make other plans and do other things, infinitely better.
Well, okay, like here's the other half of that, right? Because like there's a lot to be said for learning how to go it alone, right? I don't know if you ever saw The Departed, like fucking there's the one point, and you know what I mean, fucking he said the waterbed universe. Yeah, that's getting fucking, yo, we'll put that bitch up. Like, yo, legit. Yeah, there we go. All right, right. So, oh motherfucker, why the fuck you disappear? I didn't say you could disappear. Fucking show that shit. There we go. Right. Anyway, yeah, like, all right. So in there was one point where Matt Damon looked at a dude and goes, yo, maybe if you learn how to go it alone, right? Legitimately, like learn how to go it alone, learn how to take risk, like real shit. Like sometimes you just got to go out there and get shit done. Like go out and fucking try. You're like, yo, stop thinking that you can't do shit and just go fucking do it. Like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Quit beating yourself in the head and thinking about, oh, is this going to do this? This is going to just go fucking do it. Just go fucking do it and get it the fuck done. You know what I mean? Real shit. That is probably like the best part of like, yo, that is the best fucking path to success you fucking have in life, is just going, fuck it. I'm going to go get it done. Don't worry about no pussy. Don't worry about your fucking friends. Believe me, half the motherfuckers you know right now, you ain't going to know in like fucking 10 years. Real shit. Like, yo, fuck them motherfuckers.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, a real friend. If you ever get into a relationship and you feel like you're quote unquote family, try to fast to disabuse yourself of that notion until you've at least known the person like 5 years and they've actually shown up when you were at the hospital and did come to get you when you need it. No, most of your friends are not your friends. Even right now, most of your friends are not your friends.
And I'm gonna tell you like this, yo, look, any friend of yours who wants to get you drunk and high on a regular basis is not your fucking friend either. Legitimately.
I'm afraid so.
Like, yo, DMX actually said this one. He said, be watch a motherfucker who always wants to get you high, because when the time comes, that'll be the one that'll let you die. Like, real shit. And that is like some real honest to God stuff. Like, your fucking friends will want what's best for you, even if it's not what's best for them. Real, like, on some honest to God shit. Like, yo, your friends will fucking, like, yo, they will legit, like, your real friends will tell you about your fucking self, you know what I mean, and let you know, like, hey, look, man, you know what I mean, you fucking up. And they won't want you to stay in the bullshit and stay in the misery and be worthless and be a piece of shit the rest of your fucking life, you know what I mean, because they are. You know what I mean?
Like, that hits me hard, because I'll tell you, I've had my struggles with alcohol, and I've never entirely been that guy, but I mean, I have been the guy who really just wanted to hang out because you would get high with me or you would get drunk with me. But I'd like to think I was never a backstabber to them, but you know, when you drink too much, you eventually, you know, you lie too much, you upset your family, you do things you don't even remember you did. And mostly even now when I drink, I try and really limit myself when I'm going to allow it, because that shit will take your life away. And it's understandable too, because a lot of this whole system is geared to actually make it real easy for you to slip into that. And
like, yo, look, and this is the fucking thing. Is no, you are naturally inclined to slip into that. That's the reality of it.
That's true. No, that's so true. But every temptation is put in your way. Every motivation is put in your way. Every stressor.
No.
You know?
No, it's not, yo. It is not just put in your way, yo. These are the coping mechanisms that motherfuckers have been using for a long fucking time to deal with bullshit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? MC, what up? You know, that's it. Yo, Big Town Martin girl. What up, man? Welcome, man. It's nice to see you out here, right? Fucking like, yo, that's unless they want you to go to the massage parlors in Mexico. I don't know, nigga. You know what I mean? Oh, yo, Psycho, you checking that shit out, man? You're fucking cool, man. Let me keep me posted on the updates for that. But like, no. Your body, you are naturally inclined to run away from danger. right? And to fucking avoid stress and avoid pain. That's just natural inclinations,
course.
right? That's why, you know, I mean, that's why you fucking feel pain, is to get away from shit that is painful, because that's dangerous to you, right? And what alcohol and drugs and bullshit does is it allows you to fucking get rid of that pain. It allows you to mask shit. It allows you to be okay. Brian Mover, what up? It allows you to be okay with shit you ought not to be okay with. Rockets, what up, man? You know what I mean? Fucking like that's on some real shit when it really comes down to it. You know what I mean? And fucking, so like, it's not so much that they're putting shit in your way. It's that you're in your own fucking way and you don't get the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? And like, I don't want to be like a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, legit, I don't want to be a dick, but you don't want to let motherfuckers make excuses for you and give you fucking like somebody else to blame for your bullshit, but you, because you're the only person in this world that you can control. You can't control anyone else but you.
True. But I'm also going to say, watch that idea that you've got it all figured out. You need people who can check you. People, or at least to get good at reading self-help stuff that will challenge you. Like if you're sitting there thinking you're the smartest guy, that you're smarter than every other human being in the world, and it's important to recognize you have limits, and you actually do have needs, including needs for companionship, not just sex. And you need people in your life that you can trust. And that's really hard to find.
Well, that's for sure. But like, I'm not saying like, all right, here's the other part of this. Like,
you need to be able to be on your own.
You have to have that confidence, though. You have to have that confidence to go, you know what? Like, I know enough, you know what I'm saying, to like be successful.
Yes. I mean, you do. You can have the confidence to thrust through and succeed. But it's really hard. And I think you've got to avoid those things that you know are set up to make it very attractive to go get drunk, very attractive to go get high, very attractive. I'm going to maintain we're in an environment that pushes that stuff in our face way more than anybody was putting up with 200 years ago. Yes, we always had alcohol. We always had drugs. We always had people who were violent, thieving, assholes, abusive to their kids, whatever. But the scale of what we're seeing these days, I'm sorry, is staggering. And how much you can't go on the internet, you can't watch television, you can't listen to the radio, as if anybody even watches TV or listens to the radio anymore. But I mean, you can't go anywhere without having food, drugs, sex in your face. Like that's the path to happiness, and none of it is. I guess.
Well, I'll be honest with you, like sex most definitely will make you more fucking happy. You know what I'm saying? When it really comes down to it, ain't nothing like some fresh pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like the fresh pussy will calm, cure the common cold.
I'll only tell you what, man. Statistically, we even know with men in monogamous, like men who only ever had one sex partner, have more sex and have better sex lives. Who only ever fucked their wife, and that's the truth. But that's not me. I've had plenty of sex partners. I got to tell you, I've had plenty of sex partners, and what mostly follows from multiple sex partners is unwanted children, abortions, disease, and regret. That's what I find chasing pussy gets you. Now, maybe that sounds judgmental, but motherfucker, I've been here for 54 years, and chasing pussy is not the path to happiness. It isn't. Sounds fun. I'm sorry, but it's not the path to happiness.
I'm not saying that like fucking like it's the path that I'm saying it'll make you happy for a minute. All right. Let me address a couple things in it. Let me address a couple things in the chat real quick. All right. Fucking Psycho. He's you know what I'm saying, a religious man, you know what I mean? Who was also murdered by a fucking small yellow furry bunny. Prime Mover. You want to talk about the coronavirus? Like, I'm fully behind, you know what I mean? Fucking let's address the coronavirus.
I'm out of that discussion. This will be another one where we'll probably argue like crazy, and I don't know if I want to get into it.
Well, no, like I don't want to get into it to the level like, was it fucking released on purpose to fucking control the population? Like, I don't fucking care about all that bullshit. But so let's talk about the fucking coronavirus for a second. Here's some statistics about the coronavirus. It has a 3% mortality rate, which is pretty high for a basic fucking illness, for a basic virus, a basic flu virus. On top of that, fucking the fucking virus itself actually has only killed 150 people in a city of 26 million.
Yep.
So I think we're doing okay at the moment. You know what I mean? Legitimately, I don't think you should really be that concerned about it. And I mean, like if you're between the ages of say 5 and fucking I think probably like 60, you should be all right. You know what I mean? Legitimately, like who the people who it kills? Like the elderly with compromised immune systems, and the very, very young with compromised immune systems.
And
then
people who
with
are otherwise
AIDS.
sick, like cancer patients who are undergoing chemo
AIDS.
and shit like that, taking the AIDS
Yeah.
chemotherapy drugs, all that stuff. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Almost no, I mean, in fact, in my lifetime, I've watched these. I can't believe that the measles scare they're giving us now. We're all supposed to be terrified of measles. Almost every kid I knew got measles as a kid. I'm not even kidding. Most of them got chicken pox too. Guess what? They're all still fucking here, and we weren't dropping like flies. Calm down when you hear these flu virus scares. If nothing else, it's just a way for them to sell new shots that you don't really need, because the shit ain't. What you just said is correct, Pnoid. You name just about any, especially an airborne virus or whatever. If you are practicing good hygiene, eating reasonably healthy, and are not otherwise health compromised, almost any you hear about avian flu, swine flu, this flu, that flu, the other flu, this, that, the other. Most of them, if you are not healthy compromised, and if you're basically taking care of yourself and sanitary, even if you get it, you probably have, you'll get sick for a few days or a couple weeks. You'll have a flu. It's really,
all right, I mean, you have okay, prime mover. All right, I want you to think back. Okay, think back about like 2 years when they had the Ebola scare, right?
Yeah.
And you remember, like they had like 2 people in Texas get it, and like everybody lost their fucking mind, right? Like, this happens on a constant basis. This is what they do. All right, how do I put this? The news needs to sell news. All right. They have a lot of airtime to fill and not a lot of shit to talk about, because like, people aren't interested in listening to things about fire over and over again. They're not interested in hearing about, library openings or fucking positive news about the environment or whatever the case might be. People don't want to watch that shit. They know what fucking they want to watch. Right. They want to watch, fucking analytics, stop fucking trolling my niggas in the chat. Psycho, destroy that nigga, right? Fucking, like, you want to, like, they stand here and, they have to fucking, like, fearmonger to you. That's what the news has to do, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some real shit. They have to fearmonger to you and, like, fucking sell fucking shit. You know what I mean? They're basically selling pessimism porn, all right? And if you don't know what pessimism porn is,
fear porn.
Yeah, pessimism porn, right?
Right. Fear porn is another way of putting it. Same dude.
Prime mover, this is not any different. Okay, this is legitimately not. Ebola is way worse than this. Like, Ebola is way, way worse than this.
And that's not that big of a threat, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, Ebola is way, way worse. Like, have you ever watched motherfucking like some shit about the Ebola? Like, Ebola is deadly. Like, Ebola is not to be trifled with. That is a real disease.
And yet, in fact, most people who get it do not die horrible deaths. Now,
they'll be debilitated.
Probably. If it depends on how well, never mind. It's not worth it. I mean, let me put it to you this way. There's a reason everybody's not wandering around with Ebola dying and falling apart, and it ain't because of
like, the places where they have Ebola, niggas is dying of Ebola. Like, get nothing misunderstood.
And there's a lot, and it has a lot to do with sanitation and and a whole bunch of other living conditions. But in any case, yes, Ebola is bad. But getting worried about, you're right, it's fear porn. There's a whole industry that wants you to be afraid. You could call it pessimism porn or fear porn. I guess you'd say fear porn is like they wanted to scare you today and what they're wanting to scare you with immediately. And then there's pessimism porn, where it just goes on and on about how there is no hope. There's nothing left to explore. There are no new ideas. There is no life after death. There is no God. There is no anything. Might as well just watch TV, surf the internet, play video games, take
Like,
Gonna
oh
die.
no, the world's gonna like, I
World's
love
gonna die.
pessimism
Yeah.
porn, right? I love pessimism porn. Like fucking, I'm a big proponent of pessimism porn, and I mean, but like, I feel like you should have your shit together if you're gonna sell pessimism porn,
Mhm.
right? Hey. Oh, excuse me. But
Yeah,
yeah, like, cause
I genuinely believe the system is rigged intentionally against us. But that isn't pessimism porn, because once you get over that shit and recognize that, basically the people running things are not there. It's all smoke and mirrors. They're not as powerful as they look, and you really can. There's certain aspects of the system you will never escape. Like, really, just walk away from anybody who says you can escape paying taxes because they've got this or that elaborate legal theory. No, that gets you in jail. You have to pay your taxes, and there's certain things you can do. But you can be free of the system. You can walk away from so much just by being cognizant of, hey, wait a minute. Most of the internet, most of YouTube, most social media at this point is not good for you. And you've got to be
right,
very selective. If you're going to be, you should get more selective about what food you put in your body, and you should also get way more selective about what input you put in terms of media you consume, and what you believe in info sources you believe. Because believe me, I don't think any mainstream news source at this point is credible on anything. And so if you're going to alternative media, be very selective about who you believe in alternative media but there's all kinds of interesting stuff out there. There's opportunities out there that people don't know about because they're not looking. There's a lot of interesting. I'll keep saying, get the Tor browser and start exploring the dark web, because yes, there's criminal shit on there, but there's also all kinds of interesting stuff on there, because the big corporate powers that be that own everything don't really control everything and are not as powerful as they make out. And you can escape or minimize the monitoring they're doing on you. You can find ways to improve your health. And you can find ways of making money, or ways of living better with less money, which might actually be better, by the way. Learning to live
okay.
with less money, period.
All right.
All of these things
Let
try to unplug.
me address somebody.
Let me
All right, go
finish
ahead.
10 more seconds. Unplugging from the matrix and getting more selective about what you put into your brain as well as your body is a good idea. Go ahead.
For sure. I wanted to address this in the motherfucking chat real quick. China doesn't quarantine 50 million people who fuck up their economy for no reason. Judged by actions, not words. That's mostly what bothers me. They do too.
They do too.
That's China, nigga. China. China's a top down. It is a top down communist dictatorship, bro.
Yep.
Like legitimately, like China builds like whole cities and don't even have anybody live there.
That's right. That's right. Those exist. And you never even know. One of my I can't. Is it called China?
And they're not even
China.
really.
Basically,
and they're not even quarantined, and that's the real bitch about it. Like they're not even fucking quarantined right now. Like fucking half of the fucking people who were in goddamn fucking Busan went to goddamn fucking Singapore for fucking Chinese New Year. Legit.
I think this channel is called China Uncensored. It's one of my favorite channels. The guy looks at China every day. And one of the things he documents all the time, and this is just worth knowing, and don't accuse me of being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just talking to you about this. This is how their media operates. Pretty much every day, China puts out disinformation about what's going on in its country. And the guy will even show you this on a number of his videos. Today, we learned from the Chinese media that China is still a very desperately poor, primitive country with most people living in abject poverty and totally primitive living conditions. And on the very same day, they will be bragging on China as the up-and-coming economy, the roaring powerhouse that's taking up everything. Poverty is being eliminated everywhere. Everything is great. They'll say both things the same fucking day. They'll say that this, that, or the other thing is happening in a province, and maybe even millions of people. Literally, China is capable of telling you that 50 million people are quarantined, and they aren't. You really don't know what head games they're playing. And that's just the way the Chinese are. That's the way the media is. Literally and by the way, also, but it could be legit. And China is not averse to, like, they've decided you know what? We need to get rid of the pork industry. Boom, let's just spread this fucking virus and and kill all this pork off. You don't know, because it is a top-down crazy tard government too. You literally don't know what you can believe coming out of China. Go check out the China Uncensored channel. I'm not kidding. China is surreal. You cannot believe anything coming out of China. You literally can't. I mean, it may be true, it may not be, but it's like believing, I don't know. Can't think of a metaphor, but like literally everything coming out of China could be a lie at any time for any reason. Just don't, and that's my rant.
I mean, all right. So like, here's where I'm at with China. Like, China is, it's China, right? Like, yo, it's fucking China, dude. Like, they're no different than the United States. Legit, right? Almost half of the Wuhan population fled the quarantine. They didn't flee the quarantine. Jesus fucking Christ.
He believes.
See, and this is like, okay. So like, this is half the fucking problem, right? Is like, this is the problem with the alternative media, right? Legitimately, is that like they literally have no evidence of shit. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Like, there's no evidence one way or another. Right. And like, yo, I know, like, fucking, like, I have people right now on the ground over in motherfucking Thailand and Bangkok. I have people on the ground in Singapore reporting to me what's going on with the fucking place. And that's why I'm not reporting. All right. Because legitimately, they're telling me what the fuck's going on over there is bullshit. All right. They're saying like, yeah, most of this is fucking garbage. You know what I mean? Like, it's anti fucking Chinese fucking rhetoric. And I mean, and it's people who are over here like bitching about the Chinese government, and it's fucking the US government and the CIA and the fucking NSA putting out fucking garbage. And see, that's actually something that's real. These are real, actual things that happen all the fucking time. Legit.
I'm agreeing with you there, except for your shot at alternative media, because alternative media at minimum is as good as mainstream media. It's usually.
I agree with you.
You're right. A lot of people in the media, including the alt media, they will. Like, really, even I got caught up in it for a second just because so many people were saying it. But somebody said World War III started because of Iran. It's like, well, no, calm the fuck down. You will get wrong stuff in alternative media. I think, though, that really you want to watch alternative media. So what you do, because the corporate media is no good. All the MSM is bullshit. So if you're going to watch any alternative media, start to get very selective in terms of not how much you like them, but how careful are they in their analysis, and like, and how authentic are they really for where they're coming from? Like, I usually trust China Uncensored because the guy spends a lot of time in China. I usually trust the guy who runs We Are Change because he goes to the places where he's talking about what's going on. He's been to China recently, and he was, I think, in Europe. I like the guy. He's going and he's reporting what's going on. But otherwise, I've had the same experience you have, Pnoid. I have, because I've been on the internet a long fucking time, and I'm a social butterfly online. In real life, I'm not. I'm real private, but online, I'm a total social butterfly. And for decades now, I will hear from people in other countries saying things like what you're saying, which is basically, yeah, this story they're telling you is bullshit. It's nothing like it over here in Poland. It's nothing like that right here now in London. It's really nothing like that right now in China. That is a real common thing to hear. So you got to be real careful about anything you hear. And use your own judgment. Don't be
like, I got a guy. Yeah, I have a guy right now. His name's fucking Reporter Fly Media. He has a channel on YouTube. You can go check him out. He's been covering what's going on over with fucking the Singapore protests and all that bullshit, right? And like, he's been telling me, he's like, yo, like, fucking, and like, once you start checking into it, the Singapore individuals who are fucking like over here like fucking protesting are Antifa.
And see, here's the thing: Antifa, also the yellow vests. And if you got caught up in either of those, I'm not even going to insult you, but you want to get out of them. These are not organic things. Antifa is not organic. Neither is yellow vest. They're global things. In fact, Antifa is straight up how communists have recruited young people for more than 100 years. I mean, playbook, that's what Antifa is. They recruit young people, young disaffected men, especially either in college or of college age, but hanging out on the internet. That's how you get into Antifa. They know they're recruiting you. Young fatherless men are the primary target for recruiting for Antifa. And Antifa totally has been using this method of recruiting young men, mostly, also women, but mostly young men, for literally since like the Communist Revolution in 1918. It's playbook communism if you join Antifa. And that's being funded globally. It's being funded and promoted globally still. But also, so is Yellow Vest, and so are certain national movements.
Okay. Well, like let's like yellow vest is its own thing.
It's different.
Yellow vest.
It is its own thing.
Look, the French are communist. The French are communist. All right. The French are fucking communist. They're communist. They're communist. They're fucking communist. All right. These fucking retards over in goddamn fucking France. Like, France, these motherfuckers protested to the point where they legally could not get fired from their jobs. Did you know that?
Okay. Yeah, but let me go back.
And then collapse their fucking economy, and then they fucking had to undo it. Like, that's what this shit is. All right. They're fucking communists.
No,
like, fuck France.
Okay. Yellow Vest started in France, but this is important that you hear what I'm trying to tell you. Because what happens now is and people act like this is organic, and it's not. Yellow Vest started in France, but Yellow Vests have been showing up everywhere globally. They've showed up in Canada. They've shown up in like Taiwan. They've shown up in Japan. I'm pretty sure Japan. They've certainly appeared all over parts of Europe. They've appeared globally in many places. And that's because there's a script now, and people with money are promoting it. By the way, this was also true of Occupy Wall Street. This was also true of the Tea Party. Watch out for these secular social movements, political movements, because people with money are usually funding them. Like if you joined Me Too, if you joined Black Lives Matters, if you joined the Tea Party, if you joined Antifa, if you joined the Proud Boys, no. But certainly you are joining, when you join a movement like that, you're actually joining something controlled by people who are manipulating you and who will betray you. Like every Antifa member is going to get betrayed eventually and go home bitter if he doesn't get killed or something. So are the Yellow Vesters.
Well, okay, like, but here's the thing with like the Yellow Vesters in like Canada.
They're different
like they're copying France. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they were doing, is they were copying what France was doing.
Promoted by people with money, dude. Believe me or not.
I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is like the yellow vest, like when motherfuckers throwing yellow vest on, like that was after like fucking the France thing had already happened. So they were literally just copying what the French motherfuckers were doing.
Sure, but now it's a global thing. And I'm actually, and that's my point. When you see some political movement, watch out, because usually they're run by people who will pretend to be your friends until you're no longer useful. And then, like, really, I've had this experience. You join a political movement, you join a political group, and you feel like you're all almost a family because you all have the shared cause and the shared vision, and you laugh together and you share struggles together. And then suddenly you're not in the party line anymore, and you're unpersoned and you're dropped. And people don't even remember who you are. Or if they do, they spread lies about you. This will happen to you if you get caught up in, like, if you think you're going to find your happiness in a political cause, this is what will happen to you. Either that, or you'll get really cynical and bitter. You'll wind up working for a congressman or something, and that's not that great a gig either. What you want is to escape the system, and the first thing you do is free your mind.
Well, number one, you need to free your mind. Number two, you need to like decide what it is that you want to be, right? You need to decide like what it is that's gonna make you like fucking content in life.
As practical matter, yes.
Like the Indians and the Hindus, they have a term in their religion. It's called nirvana, right? And nirvana isn't about, like fucking being enlightened and super happy. It's just about not wanting shit. Right. It's about searching for contentment, basically, is what the deal is. Like contentment with your whole life and being. Like, I don't need shit. I'm good. right? Like I'm cool. I'm fulfilled in my life. I'm all right. I don't need, you don't have to be super happy. You don't have to be like fucking walking around floating on fucking air. You're just, hey, I'm good. Like I'm straight as a dude. I'm straight as a man. I'm straight as a parent. I'm straight as a husband. I'm straight as a father, whatever. I'm straight. I'm good. I don't need shit. Right. And once you like fucking start figuring out what's going to get you there, and then you start figuring out like where you need to move to and what you need to do with your fucking life and where you want to be. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know what I'm saying, fucking like, I think that is really fucking important to do as a man. Like you need to figure that shit the fuck out, to figure yourself out when it really comes down to it.
Yeah, and basically you need to seek out older, wiser men for advice. You really do. But you got to find the ones who are smart and find the ones, and even if you're looking, I'm not going to recommend anybody specific, but you know what? We're getting tired. I do think really it's a mistake not to investigate the spiritual path. I'm not going to push Christianity on you. It's a terrible mistake to avoid the spiritual path. That's the worst thing about the atheist movement. Men are naturally spiritual, and you should experience that. Anybody ever wants to talk to me about that, let me know. I'm actually getting real tired, Pnoid. So can I go? We dropping out here, bro?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Fucking, I'll holler at you. Thank you very much for coming on, man. That's Max Steen, Esme from motherfucking Red Pill Religion. Check him out on Gator and Frog. You know what I mean? He fucking gets it done.
All right.
Thank you very much, my brother.
God bless you, friend. Bye-bye.
All right. Peace. Well, man, you know what I'm saying? It's been like an hour and 10 minutes. So I figured, you know what, man? I might just shut this bitch the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? And lay my ass down and get some motherfucking rest. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Thank you all for coming the fuck out today, you know what I'm saying, and making this motherfucking live stream possible, making all this, you know what I mean, work and do what it needs to do. I love you all, you know what I'm saying. It's appreciated for all y'all love and support and all that type of shit. BGS Ibmore has some really good content, though. The Black Feminist destroyed much of it. Yeah, I know about BGS, nigga. I know about BGS, you know what I'm saying? Fucking, you know what I mean? Just like check out Anger Man's content. His shit is not bad either, you know what I mean? But in the meantime, man, look, I'm a ball the fuck out and go handle my motherfucking business and shit. Thank you all. This is going to be up on my podcast site on Anchor. You want to fucking get the link for the Anchor joint. Hit the Discord. You know the situation. The link is in the description. You know the deal. Look forward to seeing everybody there. Peace be like one. Later.